Hi everyone, and welcome back to Oduistic and our Python programming series. So in today's lesson, we will dive into one of the most powerful features of Python, loops. Loops allow you to automate repetitive tasks, making your programs more efficient and elegant. By the end of this video, you will understand how to use the for loop to iterate through sequences, how to use the while loop to repeat actions based on conditions, how to break out of loops and use control statements effectively. We will also look at practical examples to solidify your understanding. Let's get started. So, what are loops in Python? So first of all, in 2 to 3 minutes, I will just explain you. Loops are used to execute a block of code repeatedly, either for a specific number of iterations or while a certain condition holds true. There are two main types of loops in Python, for loops and while loops. First, I talk about for loops, used to iterate over a sequence like a list, tuple, string, or range of numbers. So we have already discussed in our previous lessons about numbers, strings, but we have not discussed about list, tuple, and dictionary as well. But don't worry, from next lesson we will be starting that. While loops, used to execute a block of code as long as a condition is true. So loops are essential in automating tasks such as iterating through a list of items, repeating calculations until a condition is met, processing user input or files. So, first of all, the for loop is used to iterate over a sequence like a list, tuple, dictionary, set, or string. It executes a block of code once for each item in the sequence. So, for example, as you can see, this is a Visual Studio Code already I have opened. I just start with a new file, and this is a Python file, and I name it, well, whatever. So we say for item in sequence, like that. This is the syntax for loop. And we start with another example. We call fruits is a variable, and there is a list. In that list, apple is the first item, and then banana is the second item, and then cherry. So there are three items in a list of fruits, and now we are iterating fruit for fruit in fruits, and then print okay. So let's run this program. Okay, so the name of this file, we call it so the file has been run. As you can see, it has printed apple, banana, and cherry. So because it has iterated over every item in the list and then print each and every item. So this is how for loops are working. Now let me just show you another example. Now we say for I in range 5, and then print I. Let me again run this program. So as you can see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the range function generates a sequence of numbers which is often used for loops, for loops. So here in this example, as you can see, we have just iterated a number range which starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we iterated each and every number in that range and then print it by using I variable. So this is how we can use range function as well. So let me again show you another example for a string. So for character and any variable in, we say Python and then print run this function. Sorry, run this. While is you can see now Python. So each and every string character in this string, which is Python. So the next loop, which is while loops, the while loop executes a block of code as long as the specified condition is true. It's useful when you don't know beforehand how many times the loop will run. So for that, you can use a while loop. And it keeps evaluating the condition before every iteration. If the condition becomes false, the loop exits. So the syntax for that loop, while loop, is like this: while and then condition. And then the code to execute while condition is true. So let's start with some practical examples. The while loop executes a block of code as long as the specified condition is true. This is the main statement above while loop. It's useful when you don't know beforehand how many times the loop will run. So count is equal to 0 while count less than 5, and then print count and count plus equal 1. Okay, so the variable count is initialized to 0. As you can see, count is equal to 0. Condition and then condition check. The while loop checks if count is less than 5. If true, the loop body executes. Otherwise, the loop terminates. And then print count statement displays the current value of count. And count plus equal to 1, which is actually incrementing the value by 1 in each iteration. And then termination, when count becomes 5, the condition count less than 5 evaluates to false and the loop exits. So this is the output of that program, small program, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start another example. Which is password. So this is a string, and then user underscore input while user input is not equal to password, user input Right. So first, the variable user input is initialized as an empty string. So as you can see, this is empty string. The while loop checks if input is not equal to password. If true, the loop body executes, prompting the user to enter another password. The user is asked to input the password repeatedly until they provide the correct value, which is Python 123. This is the correct value and it has been stored in Python. So when user input matches password, the condition user input is not equal to password evaluates to false and the loop exits. So let me run this program. So it's asking me enter your password. So I would say Odoo stick, press enter. So it's saying, oh, this print, basically what I have done, this is inside the while loop now. So I need to correct this and run it again. Stop this, run it again. So asking your password again, I enter Odoo stick. So that's it, it's wrong. It's asking me again. I would say Farouk, wrong. London, wrong. Okay, let's enter Python 123. Access granted. Here you go. So this is how while loops are working, and sometimes you may want to exit a loop before it finishes all its iterations. This is where the break statements comes in handy. So how we can use break, let me just show you. So we say for num in range 10. Okay, after that the double colons, and we say if num is equal to, we are comparing with 5, we already talked about this, and then break. And after that we say print as well, print num. Okay, so let's run this. Before running, let me clear my terminal and run it. So as you can see, it's only printed 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what happened in this one, the we wanted to exit a loop before it finishes all the iterations, and that's why we have used break statement. So it has broken if number is, so before, when it go beyond the 4 and go equal to 5, it breaks, and even it has not printed the 5, only printed from 0. So skipping iterations, the continue statement skips the current iteration and moves to the next one. There is another thing which is called continue. So if we use for num in range 5, and we say if num is equal to 2, then instead of break, continue. So what will happen now? If number is equal to 2, it's continue. So in Python, the continue statement skips the current iteration actually. So we run this. So if you see 0, 1, 3, and 4, so it has skipped the number 2, 1. So it has passed through this iteration basically and moves to the next one. This is how we can use the continue in loops. Then we can also, in Python, loops can have an else block as well, which executes only if the loop completes normally without a break. So Let's, in the same way we have used in if condition as well, else. So we can use for num in range 3, and then we print num, and else we say print loop completed. Okay, let's run this. So it has completed the loop 0, 1, 2, and loop completed also. So if the loop is exited with a break, the else block is skipped. This is how it is working. Uh, Let me give you another example. So we say for num in range 5 here, and then if num, we use a condition if num is equal to 3, then break. Okay, and print num, else print loop completed. Okay, what will happen? Let me just run this. So as you can see, it has only printed 0, 1, and 2, and then it has broken. It has break, and then it has not uh, gone in else statement, which I have already explained it to you. If the loop is exited with a break, the else block is skipped. Very important. If the loop is exited with a break, the else block is skipped. I hope you understood it well. I have also explained it with my examples as well. And okay, let me show you another example as well. So let's use a loop to uh, to calculate the factorial of a number. Okay, so we use to find a factorial number. The factorial of a number is the multiplication of all the numbers between 1 and the number itself. It is written like, so if the factorial of 2 is 2, 1 multiplied by 2. So calculate a factorial, you need to know two things. That 0 is not equal to 1, and then all the numbers including itself, it will be the value of that. So we just find with the example. So we start with the variable num is equal to input integer. We just convert the user input into integer input. Enter a number. Right. And then we start with factorial variable is equal to 1. And for finding that, for calculating that, for I in range 1, num plus 1. And then factorial multiply is equal to I. So this is, I'm actually using factorial formula as well. And then print. We are using f string, the factorial of is right. Okay, let me just run. So it's asking enter a number. So I entered number 2. So it's saying the factorial of 2 is 2. Let's run it again. Enter 5. It should be 120, the factorial, which is perfectly right. Run it again. 100. Wow. Massive figure. Okay. So the user is prompted to enter a number here, actually. Then the variable factorial starts at 1 since multiplying by 1 does not affect the result. And the for loop runs from 1 to the user entered number. In each iteration, the value of value of I is multiplied with factorial, updating its value. So calculation, if num is equal to 5, the loop performs 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 5, resulting in 120. So if you enter 5, so what it does, it just starts multiplying with the first number, which is 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4, and the 5, which is the number itself, and the resulting in 120. In case of 100, which is, so it is actually multiplying 1 multiplied by 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up till 100 as well. That's why that massive figure you have seen. So this is how we can use or combining the loops as well. So common mistakes and debugging tips: infinite loops. Forgetting to update the loop variable in a while loop can lead to infinite loops. So for example, if I would say count is equal to 0 and while count is less than 5, and then print count. Now what is happening here? We are actually not adding with 1 to count. So this is 0 and it will never be equal to 5. So misunderstanding the behavior of range as well. There is another error we are also getting. We are sometimes misunderstanding the behavior of range, and it can lead to missing or extra iterations as well. Using break and continue wisely. Overusing these statements can make loops harder to read as well. So great job. In this video, we have covered how to use for loops to iterate through sequences, how to use while loops to repeat actions based on conditions, how to control loop execution using break and continue. Loops are fundamental tools in programming, enabling you to handle repetitive tasks and iterate through data efficiently. Mastering loops will significantly improve your coding skills. And in the next video, we will explore advanced data structures in Python. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below with how you have used loops in your projects. See you in the next lesson, and happy coding. I will also leave another assignment for this lecture, and please don't forget to resolve all questions which I will just mention here. Thank you very much. Ta-da.